Can I take a picture?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, everybody smile. I'm getting used to doing this. So everybody put your best smile on and I'll take a quick picture. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori, and welcome everybody. And Lori Banks is on our board of directors this year, as she was last year, the marketing and communications director. And we are so happy to welcome Carrie Abner from ICF Global, who will be speaking at the Global Leaders Forum later on this week, I understand. So welcome, Carrie. Today is the first part of a 4-part series on credentialing. How cool is that? Yeah. We decided to create this series with ICF Global and can't thank them enough. That's open to all chapters around the country and around the world, actually, because we felt that there was a need. Our members told us that one of the reasons they've been hesitating to get their ICF credentials, number one, they don't know all the details. Number two, it's intimidating, all these details. And the bottom line is that they just didn't know a whole lot about it. So we've put together this 4-part series. Today is the first part on the value of credentialing. And the other parts are about the nuts and bolts in June. In September, we're going to be talking about the new exam and team coaching. And we're going to round up the year with what's new and what's coming up. So I'm first going to introduce Carrie Abner, who's going to give us a presentation on credentialing. If you have a burning question that you need to be answered while she's speaking, feel free to put your hand up in Zoom or write in chat. Otherwise, we'll hold all the questions to the end. So make sure you make a note. But again, if you really want something answered on the spot, don't hesitate. We are more than happy to stop and pause for a minute. So let me tell you about Carrie. Carrie has worked with ICF for more than 20 years. Wow, in various roles involved in communications, domestic and foreign policy, and management. In her current role as Vice President of ICF Credentials and Standards, she focuses on strengthening and growing the certification of coach practitioners around the world and ensuring the highest standards for professional and ethical practice in coaching. Carrie previously served as Assistant Director for Communications at the Council of State Governments, where she worked with state legislators, Supreme Court justices, and executive branch leaders to foster collaboration and the sharing of best practices. Her past experience also includes management of U.S. federal grant projects related to prevention of violence against women, as well as the protection of refugee women and children in humanitarian crises. Carrie holds a master's degree in international affairs from the George Washington University in Washington, D.C. So thank you again so much, Carrie, for being here. We are so excited to have the support and participation of the mothership, ICF Global. So over to you.
Thank you so much, Greta, and to the entire ICF Orange County chapter for the chance to be here today. It is really an honor and a privilege to be with you all. And what a great looking group we have here today. I'm so excited to be part of this initial kickoff session in a series on credentialing, something that I personally am extremely passionate about at ICF. And as Greta mentioned, I have been at the ICF and served my entire 5 years with Credentials and Standards. So I've been part of the credentialing process since joining ICF 5 years ago. And that's really building on 2 decades of experience working with associations. But I can honestly say that I've never seen an association with a more committed community of volunteers and professionals and members and stakeholders than when I joined the ICF 5 years ago. This community, this global community of coaches has really been an inspiration to me. And it's been a real honor and privilege to be able to be part of this community and supporting it through the credentialing process. I'm going to go on and start sharing my screen here. Let's see here. So you all can see, hopefully you can see this beautiful Orange County Charter Chapter slide here. We'll go on and kick off our presentation. And as Greta mentioned, we've got a good a good bit of content to go through, but also this is such a great size group. We can stop and have conversation. If you have questions, feel free to let me know. And if I don't see you, I just see a few squares on my side screen. Just unmute and say, Carrie, please stop. I've got a question because I don't want to miss any good questions along the way. But thank you again for the chance to be here with you. I like to start off these presentations, and this may be old news for some of you, it may be new news for others. So I'd like to start off this presentation just talking about the ICF and our new structure, which I find extremely exciting and something that's going to be important for not just the International Coaching Federation as we move forward into the future, but for the entire coaching profession. It's going to allow us to best serve the entire profession in a more profound way. So 2020 was a pretty significant year in so many aspects of our personal and professional lives, but for ICF, it was a really important year as well, for specific reasons. We celebrated our 25th anniversary in 2020, and we did so by launching this brand new complex structure that, again, I'm so excited to be a part of and to help move forward. This is just a quick overview or an image of our new structure. We launched 6 unique organizations as part of this structure, each with their own specific mandate and focus and really mission and vision for driving the coaching profession forward. Some of these new organizations, like the ICF Professional Coaches, which support our global membership body, as well as the global community of chapters like ICF Orange County, are not new elements of the ICF, right? We have had membership. We have really embraced our chapter network throughout the world for more than 20 years. Credentialing is another familiar program and service of the ICF. We have been providing credentialing services since 1998, in fact. But our new structure allows us to do this in a really different way, to expand our reach, to expand the scope of our work, and to really drive the entire mission of ICF and the coaching profession forward. We're very, very excited about that. Another element of our new structure is that we had a name change. We used to be called the International Coach Federation. Now we are the International Coaching Federation, and that's not just an insignificant change. It really is symbolic of our enlarged mission and vision to support the entire coaching profession and all those who are impacted by coaching. So to us, that's a really important transition and change. As part of this new structure, I will talk about just a couple of the more familiar elements. I already mentioned ICF Professional Coaches, which hopefully all of you are familiar with and involved and active with ICF Professional Coaches as members and as a part of the network of our chapter system. ICF Credentials and Standards, another familiar part of our organization. We've been providing credentials at the Associate Certified Coach, Professional Certified Coach, and Master Certified Coach levels for over 20 years, and we are continuing to do so in our new structure. ICF Coaching Education is also a familiar element of our structure, and they provide accreditation for educational program providers who help support the development of new coaches. So that's a really important part of our organization. We also have 3 new elements of our structure. The first is ICF Coaching and Organizations. For the first time ever, we have a brand new focus on coaching that happens within organizations. So we have new organizational members, Fortune 500 companies to nonprofit organizations and government agencies. Coaching is becoming a more integral part of all of these cultures within organizations, and we're excited to be able to support that through ICF Coaching and Organizations. In addition, ICF Thought Leadership Institute is really taking a look at the future of coaching and the future of the world and how coaching can play an important part in that. So it's very future focused, and we are so excited to see the learning, the research that is supported through this new organization. And finally, we had the ICF Foundation that has been part of our system for a few years prior to our new structural change, but is certainly a more recent addition to the scope of ICF. And the ICF Foundation really supports social progress through coaching, and they're doing wonderful work around the world. So before we get started with the content, I'd love to ask you all, you can either unmute yourselves or you can chat in the chat. What is the best thing that could happen to you in the next year? We're still within the first quarter of 2022, the time of setting goals and looking forward, what we want to accomplish as individuals, as professionals, as part of this chapter. What would be the very best thing that could happen to each of you over the course of the next year? Oh, great, Pauline. Achieving the MCC, that is a really important and significant milestone. That's great. Love seeing that. How about others? Line up some more coaching work. MCC is on Lori's list as well. That's wonderful. Go into full-time coaching by winter. That's wonderful. Let's see. Reach clarity on my next steps. That's an important goal and achievement. Increasing clients and creating stability in your coaching business. And to do a study group for the MCC. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great goal, Pauline. New website. Excellent. These are all great visions and goals for the next year. And sounds like some of them are well aligned to our discussion today on credentialing. So I'm really happy to share with you a little bit about the value of ICF credentialing and how it can support you in reaching some of those goals that you outlined there, and more broadly in your coaching journey. So let's talk a little bit about the purpose of ICF credentials and standards. Our purpose is quite simply to elevate professional standards in coaching throughout the global ecosystem, and in doing so, to elevate the coaching profession itself. So our mission is to elevate credentials as the global gold standard, respected as the highest standard of professional and ethical practice, and based on rigorous research, empirical evidence, and delivered with elegance, simplicity, and a human touch. Ultimately, we want to help our ICF credential holders to truly shine in the global marketplace. You know, just as we hold candidates and credential holders to the highest standards of professional and ethical practice, we hold ourselves as ICF credentials and standards to ourselves to the highest standards in certification practice. We're really committed to building and growing a certification program that is grounded in robust research and empirical evidence. So you'll hear some of that research coming out in our talk today. And I think it's truly the differentiator for ICF credentials and standards as compared to some of the other coaching certification bodies that exist around the world. The focus that we have on research and making sure that our certification program is built on rigorous standards. Ours is a very complex certification program with 3 levels of credentialing and numerous pathways to apply. Each of these has its own set of requirements for training, for experience, for mentor coaching and assessment. And yet, beyond these complexities, our aim is to really deliver that program in a simple and elegant way, making the process as easy as possible to navigate, even when the standards are very robust and high, and to provide support, guidance, and direction to candidates with a fundamentally human touch. Again, our ultimate goal is to allow ICF credential holders to shine throughout their coaching journey, wherever they are in that coaching journey. By shining as individual coach practitioners, we collectively shine a light on the entire coaching profession and the power that it offers to our world. Chapters like ICF Orange County play a really important role in this work. By supporting chapter members who are considering or navigating the credentialing process, by providing really important ongoing professional development opportunities, just like this workshop, this webinar, and many other opportunities across the gamut, by connecting those within your chapter networks to the ICF Credentials and Standards team when they have questions or opportunities for support. Thank you for being a really valuable resource to your chapter members. You help them and us shine very brightly. So thank you. So we talked a little bit about our mission, our purpose, our goals. To help us really fulfill this mission, ICF Credentials and Standards is dedicated to ensuring the quality, integrity, and the value of ICF credentials for all who hold them and for the clients that they serve, to serve as the global gold standard for professional coach credentialing. By offering robust, consistent, and fair credentialing processes and programs, ICF Credentials and Standards does three things. We provide an assurance of quality to coaching clients. We motivate coaches to continue their professional growth and competence, and we deliver high-value credentials to the global coaching community. You know, coaching is not a formally or centrally regulated profession. So because of that, it's really important for the advancement of coaching that we continue to show our commitment to the highest levels of education, competence, and ethics. That's fundamental to the structure and delivery of the ICF credentialing program. We provide coaches with a way to distinguish themselves as a coaching professional who submitted to a combination of verified education and training, of experience, and independent assessment, along with a compliance of standards of practice that allows current and potential clients and the communities in which coaches serve to trust that they are working with a qualified coach. This also really demonstrates a commitment to the maintenance of competence. So not just at the time of the original application for a credential, but continuous throughout the coach's career. This is because of our requirements for ongoing continuous coach education throughout the 3-year credential renewal process and cycle. So for clients, even those who may not require their coach to hold a credential, the ICF credential demonstrates not just the qualifications, skill, and commitment to high professional and ethical practice on behalf of the coach, it also demonstrates the integrity and the professionalism of the entire coach profession. So that's extremely important. So I've already mentioned the 3 levels of credentialing that ICF currently offers. It's the Associate Certified Coach, the Professional Certified Coach, and the Master Certified Coach credential. These are really designed to provide support and opportunities for coaches wherever they are in their coaching journey to demonstrate their competence as a coach practitioner. Each are designed with a unique set of rigorous standards for education, for client coaching experience, for mentor coaching. And even more important, for each credential level, a coach must demonstrate through independent assessment by the ICF that they're knowledgeable about and understand how to apply the ICF core competencies in coaching practice. This allows credential holders to verify that they meet independent, globally recognized standards of practice in coaching, and to verify their legitimacy and competence as a coaching professional. And it's really important for consumers. You know, one of the research endeavors that ICF undertakes on a regular basis is a global consumer awareness study. In the 2017 Global Consumer Awareness Study, clients of coaching indicated that the ICF credential demonstrates not just the qualifications, skill, and commitment to high professional and ethical practice on behalf of the coach, it also demonstrates the integrity of the entire coaching profession. Clients indicate that working with a credentialed coach is really important, and you can see the statistics there on this slide. What's even more important is that we are seeing that importance grow. ICF just completed another global consumer awareness study just this past year, earlier this year, exactly. And 85% of consumers indicated that working with a credentialed coach is either important or very important. To clients, the ICF credential provides a mark of quality, assuring coaching consumers that they're working with an experienced, knowledgeable coach, and that their investment in coaching is a really wise one for them to make. And we also know from consumers that those who work with a credentialed coach are more satisfied than those who work with a non-credentialed coach. Again, here you see some statistics from our 2017 global coaching consumer awareness study, and we're seeing even stronger results out of our initial data from the 2022 consumer awareness study, where more than half of respondents who had previously participated in a coaching relationship with a credentialed coach said they were very satisfied with their coaching experience. And that's compared to just a little over 1 in 4 respondents whose coach did not hold a credential. We also see that credentialed coaches earn more in revenue from their coaching than those who do not hold a credential. In the 2020 global coaching study, so a different research, but an important, another important research endeavor for the ICF, the global coaching study found that coach practitioners with 1 or more credentials from a professional association reported on average about 25% higher revenues from coaching than those without credentials. So that's from their coaching revenues. We know that a lot of coaches derive revenues from a number of different services. You know, sometimes that's coaching combined with consulting and some other activities, but from their coaching practice itself, they earn on average 25% higher revenues from coaching. I want to go into now, we've talked about why it's important for a coaching consumer to work with a credentialed coach, the value and impact on the coach itself in terms of higher revenues, but nothing can outweigh the pride of earning an ICF credential and really attaining that mark of quality and excellence as a coach practitioner. What that stands for as the globally recognized gold standard for coaching. To be part of this distinguished community of coach practitioners who hold an ACC, PCC, or MCC, to really recognize as the highest quality professional coach certification at the global level. You just can't beat that. There is no value that can be placed on that feeling. And it doesn't just stop there. It doesn't end at the moment that a coach earns a credential, regardless of what level that is. Rather, ICF credentialed coaches often share that the value is in their professional journey that begins with the award of their credential and continues as they learn and grow and develop their skills along their coaching journey. The expertise and experience in coaching throughout their professional careers really adds to that benefit. And that's an essential component of the ICF credentialing program, is that commitment to ongoing learning and growth as a practitioner. You know, the design of the ICF credentialing program with these 3 levels, as well as the requirements for renewal, really helps to support a coach practitioner in growing as a professional across their career. So let's talk a little bit about the ICF credentialed community of coaches around the world. And I pulled these numbers recently, just last week, as of March 14th. We had over 40,000 ICF credential holders in more than 140 countries worldwide. And you see the breakdown of those credential holders here on this slide, with more than 21,000 ACCs, more than 17,000 PCCs, and more than 1,500 MCCs. This is pretty tremendous. Just 2 years, I think it's 2.5 years ago or so, we were celebrating the milestone of 25,000 active credential holders worldwide. So we're really seeing tremendous growth. And I think that really speaks to the value of the credential, what that means to individuals who want to serve as a coach practitioner in their communities. So I have here the different elements and requirements for each level of credential that we offer. I mentioned earlier that each level has its own unique set of requirements. And so here you can see on your screen what those requirements are for the ACC, the PCC, and the MCC. Now, I know that Angie Holleran is going to be joining you in June, I believe, for the next session in this series on credentialing. And she's going to provide lots of details about the credentialing process and the different elements that are required at each credential level. But I'll just go through this very quickly. And then we're also going to preview some of the upcoming changes for credentialing requirements later this year that I'll share with you in just a moment. At the ACC level, we require candidates to have at least 60 hours of coaching, training, or education, 100 hours of client coaching experience, 10 hours of mentor coaching with an eligible mentor coach, and of course, the assessment. So we include both a performance assessment where a coach is evaluated on their coaching skill using a live or recorded coaching session. Sometimes that takes place within a coach's educational program, and sometimes that takes place within the credentialing application process. All ACC candidates are required to take our written exam, which is the coach knowledge assessment. So that's the final and independent assessment portion of our process. Application fees can vary depending on the specific pathway in which an applicant applies, as well as their membership status. So we do have a membership benefit for those who are ICF professional coach or coaching and organization members. They get a discounted rate on their credentialing application. For the professional certified coach level, we require coaches to have at least 125 hours of coaching education or training, at least 500 hours of coaching experience with clients, 10 hours of mentor coaching with an eligible mentor coach. And similarly, they must have a performance evaluation. And again, some candidates may complete the performance evaluation as part of their foundational coaching education program. Others will submit a recorded coaching session, actually 2 recorded coaching sessions and transcripts to fulfill the performance evaluation requirement through the credentialing application process. Candidates who have not previously taken and passed the coach knowledge assessment for the ACC, when applying for the PCC, they'll take the CKA at this time. There you see the application fees for the PCC, and again, those vary depending on the pathway as well as the individual applicant's membership status. And finally, for Pauline and Lori and others who are preparing for the MCC credentialing process, we require 200 hours of coaching experience, 2,500 hours of client coaching, 200 hours of coaching education, 2,500 hours of client coaching experience, 10 hours of mentor coaching with an MCC credentialed coach, and again, the performance evaluation and written assessment if it's not been completed for a prior credential application. There you see the application fees again for the MCC, which include that member benefit. Each of these credentials has a 3-year cycle in which the credential remains active. After that point, a coach to maintain active credentialed status would have to renew their credential. For our renewal process, we require 40 hours of continuous coach education credits. So we require coaches to continually take new education, training, engage in mentor coaching or other forms of professional learning, growth, and development over that 3-year credential cycle. Now, we do have some changes that are coming up this year, in August of this year. So I've included here what that looks like. You'll see that there are no significant changes to the individual elements or requirements for each credential level. However, the assessment is really the written exam is going to be the changing element here. You'll see that the training and education hours remain the same at each level of credential. Experience and mentor coaching likewise remain the same. We are going to be moving to a new written exam that will replace the coach knowledge assessment. That will happen in August of this year. So we are in the final stages of preparing that new exam, which are aligned, the exam questions are aligned with the updated core competencies that came out in 2019. We're very excited about this process. You will also see here some updated credentialing application fees. Again, there is a membership benefit that is included in these fees, depending on the candidate's membership status. And the fees also slightly vary depending on the application pathway that a candidate takes. So I wanted to provide just a little bit of an overview on the credentialing exam that is coming in August of this year. We have just completed a pilot test of this new exam that included 300 coach practitioners and credential candidates from around the world. And we are swimming in all of that data. So we've taken all of this pilot exam data, and now we're conducting psychometric analysis on those data points. And the data looks really great. We're really excited about this new exam. It appears to be performing exactly and actually exceeding the standards that we wanted to see in that initial data. So we're very excited about that. I do get excited about data, which gives you a little bit of a glimpse into my personality. So a couple of the things that I'd like to share about this new exam, the first is, like the coach knowledge assessment, it's really designed to assess a candidate's knowledge of and ability to apply the core competencies in coaching practice. That's very important. That's really essentially what we're all about, is making sure that coaches are competent when earning a credential. The content includes the ICF definition of coaching, the updated core competencies, and the Code of Ethics. So all three of those foundational pieces of our framework are included and reflected in the new exam. The new exam is anticipated to have about 150 to 175 scenario-based questions. So candidates will be presented with a very realistic coaching context or scenario, and they will have to answer what would be the most appropriate response given that situation. We do anticipate that the exam, much like the CKA, will take about 3 hours for candidates to complete. That candidates will be given 3 hours to complete the exam. Our data actually looks like most candidates who have completed the pilot exam have taken less than that 3 hours to complete the exam. The biggest difference in the delivery of this new exam is that it will be delivered in a more secure fashion. Currently, the coach knowledge assessment is delivered online, unproctored. That means that it is overexposed and not a particularly secure exam. In order to best secure the value of the ICF credentials, we are going to be delivering this new exam in a more secure format that upholds the integrity of the test and the credentials themselves. So we're really excited to be able to partner with Pearson VUE, which is a global test delivery vendor, to deliver this new exam. And they will be doing so through their network of more than 5,000 testing centers worldwide, as well as through their live remote proctored testing service called Pearson OnView. So using the OnView system, much like today's CKA, candidates can complete the exam from their home, from their office, wherever they might be online. However, there are some more security measures to make sure that the candidate is taking the test with the integrity with which it's intended to be delivered. So we're very excited about this new process. A couple other more updates on this new exam. Because the exam reflects the updated core competencies, individuals who are applying for a credential after the launch of this new exam, and again, that we anticipate that to be in August of this year, will be required to take the new exam, even if they've taken the CKA for a prior credential. And the reason for that is the CKA, we only have one form of that exam. And as I mentioned on the previous slide, that exam is highly exposed. Because the new exam reflects the updated core competencies, which are really important for all candidates to demonstrate knowledge and ability to apply. We are requiring all candidates for credentials following the launch of the exam to take this new test as part of that process. If candidates submit an application for a credential prior to the launch of the new exam, they will take the CKA. Candidates who submit their application for a new credential following the launch of the new exam will take the updated exam. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay, I'm seeing some head nods there. Individuals who are renewing their credential will not be required to take the new exam. Only continuing coach education units are required for renewal. And like our current process, the exam fee is included in the application fee. So there's no separate exam fee once we launch our new exam. Okay, so a couple of questions that we've gotten along the way. I'll just cover these very quickly, and then I want to make sure that we've got plenty of time for your Q&A. But you see a couple of the questions that we've gotten from candidates and from credential holders around the world in recent months, asking if this will be an open book exam. It will not be an open book exam. And to be honest, the coach knowledge assessment was never intended to be an open book exam, but because it's unproctored, sometimes it is taken as an open book exam. Candidates will need to take the exam all in one sitting. So they will have that 3-hour window of time to complete the exam. And after that, the exam will be shut down and over. And as I mentioned earlier, those who submit an application for a credential prior to the launch of the new exam will take the CKA, and those who submit an application for a credential afterward will take the new exam. Okay. I have mentioned several times throughout this presentation the importance of ongoing learning, growth, and development. And this notion of continuous professional development is so foundational to the credentialing program and to our service that we provide. We do provide some information around sources of continuous professional development on the ICF website. So if you have questions about what can be used toward credential renewal as continuous professional development, please feel free to go to our site. There's a whole page that lists a variety of different activities, including continuous coach education courses, but other sources of professional development as well. So please check that out. And if you have questions, you can always reach out to the Credentials and Standards team. Okay, so one of the things that I think is really important is to talk about the member benefits for the credentialing process. I've already mentioned there is a member benefit in the application fees. Active ICF members, whether individuals are members of ICF professional coaches or members of ICF coaching and organizations, do get a discounted rate on the application process for credentialing. But there are a host of other membership benefits as well that are important to note. Opportunities like today's webinar is one great example of that. The opportunity to learn, to engage in professional development, to network with peers and colleagues from literally around the world is such a rich and important benefit. I've mentioned a couple of our research studies that we've undertaken and presented and published throughout this presentation as well. Access to that cutting edge research, whether it's academic research or market and industry research, is really important as well as a member benefit. And lots of business development opportunities too. So these are all important benefits that come with membership. In addition, individuals who hold both an active ICF membership and a credential in good standing can be listed on the Credentialed Coach Finder directory that's on our website. That's a great source of potential coaches for consumers and clients to go to. And so that's a real, a wonderful and important benefit for credentialed members, those who are members and also hold an active credential. One final note I will say, by now you've probably seen these digital badge images on LinkedIn or elsewhere, maybe even in email signatures. We launched our new digital badging program in April 2020, and they have been such an important benefit to credential holders and now to members. We now have an ICF member badge as well, allowing members and credential holders to market themselves on social media and in all kinds of digital spaces, websites, blogs, again, email signatures, to show through a secure and verifiable badge that they have done a lot of work to earn that credential or met requirements to have an active ICF membership as well. So these have been a great benefit as well, allowing coaches to really shine in the global marketplace and to share their achievements with consumers and their communities. We have a number of resources for those interested in learning how to use their digital badge more effectively. You can find those here on our website and be happy to send those links directly to you as well. And I'm happy to share a number of other resources that you can find primarily on our website that may be of benefit to you. In addition, we do have a video series on the updated core competencies that are on our featured on our YouTube station. So most of these are available on our website, and then of course that video series on our YouTube channel. So check those out. And with that, I will stop my share and we can answer any questions that you all might have. Okay, I'm seeing the, let's see, the request for the digital badge information in the chat, and I will share that in just one moment. Anne's got a great question about the open book exam. So Anne, some of your coaches bring the core competencies markers into the exam room or on their desk if they are remote. That won't be allowed with a new exam. So they will need to, if taking the exam through the live remote proctoring service, Pearson OnView, they will have to show the remote proctor kind of photos of their testing room, and they will not be able to have documents, et cetera, available within reach while taking the exam. So that's a great question. I will say, however, given the format of the exam, which is truly a scenario-based format of exam questions, there aren't questions that they would be able to glean answers if they have the core competencies in front of them. It's more of a skills application type of format for the exam. Aliona, I see your hand.
Yeah, I have several questions. I started putting one in the chat, but maybe I'll begin with the longer one. I have attended another training from ICF not so long ago, just a few days ago, and it was about health and wellness coaches and how this sort of is starting to be recognized as a special sort of category within the federation as well. And I was wondering if there is any kind of a plan to divide the coaches and or like give an extra emphasis on health and wellness and
yeah, that's a great question. So I can share with you this. So I don't know if the specific session that you were involved in, that you participated in the other day, was part of our communities of practice, but we do have communities of practice that provide more nuanced kind of training, education, professional development in very specific areas of coaching. So in some cases, like our health and wellness community of health and wellness coaching community of practice, it's in a very specific discipline of coaching. We also have a community of practice that is dedicated to group and team coaching. So we have a couple of these communities of practice that are in specialized disciplines. Other communities of practice are in specialized kind of topic areas. So we have an ethics community of practice, and we have some other communities of practice that are on kind of broader topic areas. We do offer those opportunities for individuals who want to engage in a more targeted or focused area of coaching. We're also about to, and you'll hear a little bit more later this year through this webinar series about some of Credentials and Standards work in providing advanced certifications in specialized coaching disciplines as well. Later this year, we will be launching a brand new advanced certification in team coaching practice. We're very excited about that. That will be the first of our advanced certifications in a specialized discipline of coaching practice. And it's been a couple of years in the making, so it's a big piece of work. Now, we don't have specific areas for subsequent specialized certifications or credentials, but that is certainly a possibility down the road. We're very excited to be able to better serve coaches and credential holders as they advance their skills in a variety of different disciplines of coaching. So we're very excited about that. Okay. Does that answer your question, Leona?
Yeah, it does. But maybe you could explain a little bit more of this community of practice. In
Sure.
which category does it fall? Like in the beginning, you were describing this new elements. So where do I find this? I can't have a like overview of this new system quite yet.
Absolutely, great question. So the communities of practice are provided as a member benefit. So they are free for ICF members. You can participate, you can earn CCE credits through communities of practice at no charge to you. That's part of your membership with the ICF. So they are tied directly to the ICF professional coaches in that way. Now, non-members may also participate in the communities of practice as well. There is a small fee for their participation in those sessions. I will grab from our website the link that shares more information about the different communities of practice that we offer, so you can have a little bit more information. I'll put that in the chat. Okay, and I see a question. Let's see, Lori, I see your hand up for a question.
Okay, great. Thanks. For the MCC, I'm somewhat moving away from one-on-one coaching to more like group and video and classes and courses and passive income and reaching a huge audience. But I'm also interested in getting the 2,500 hours for the MCC as well. So is that one-on-one, and is there a time limit for that 2,500 hours for the MCC?
Great question. So there is a time limit that 2,500 hours must occur after the start of your coaching education. So whatever your first coaching education was, it could be 10 years ago, you can count any accumulated hours of coaching experience following that start date. So after your first day of a coaching program, you can start accumulating those hours. For experience hours, you can also accumulate group or team coaching hours as well, as long as the group is not larger than 15 individuals without a co-coach. So if you have more than 15 individuals in your group that you're coaching, it's fine to count those hours as long as you have a co-coach to support you. And the way that we count those hours is it is the straight hours of your delivery of coaching. So you wouldn't, if you coached a group of 10 individuals for an hour, you would count that as 1 hour, not 1 hour times 10 individuals. Does that make sense? but you can
Yes.
absolutely count group and team coaching hours as part of your experience.
So I got my certification in 2007, my PCC, and that's when I did my training. So I can count anything from that to now, any sort of coaching.
You can count. So if you, when was your initial coaching education that you?
In 2007.
2007, you could count any experience hours after the start of that coaching education program in 2007. So that includes any coaching experience hours that started after your coaching education that you counted for your PCC, or if you applied for an ACC, you can count those hours towards your MCC as well.
Okay, great.
Great.
How do you prove that? How do you prove like the coaching? How?
Sure. So it used to be that candidates for a credential would submit a coaching log that would show their clients' names and their clients' information. New data privacy regulations really prohibit us from doing that. And we want to make sure that we're keeping individual coaching clients' data secure as well. So the way that we do that now in the application process is candidates will complete a series of questions called an attestation, where they attest that they meet the client coaching experience requirements. We do have some internal checks on that. So if someone accumulates hours in a way that does not, that is not feasible or reasonable, we can do an audit. So it is important for candidates to maintain their own log so that they can access that log if they need to, if they are pulled for audit. But we don't ask candidates to directly supply their clients' information to us.
Yeah.
Carrie, you have, so go ahead, Lori.
Yeah, and is it paid coaching only? I think at one time it had to be a paid coaching. I just want to make sure.
It's 80% paid coaching and 20%, up to 20% of your client coaching experience hours can be pro bono.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Carrie, just wanted you to know we've got about a little more than 5 minutes left, and
Okay.
Chat has his hand up, and then you've got 2 pending questions.
Excellent.
In Chat. Yeah.
So Chat.
Yeah, hi, Carrie. Hi, Greta. Nice to see you. Actually, Laurie asked the question in terms of what kind of proof is required to test for the coaching hours that you're claiming, so to speak.
Yeah.
But thank you. Of
course. Great question. And I'm seeing in the chat, Karen had a great question. Do you need to progress the credentialing kind of structure? So do you have to get your ACC first, then your PCC, and then your MCC? Or can you apply directly for MCC? Great question. The answer is it kind of depends. So we offer the ACC and the PCC. The ACC is not a prerequisite in order to be eligible for the PCC. So some candidates choose to begin with the ACC, but they're not required to. Some candidates can apply for and earn directly the PCC credential, and that's their initial coaching credential. It is required to earn a PCC prior to applying for the MCC, however, and that's a change that we made. I think it was in 2018 or early 2019, based on data that we collected on credentialing candidates and their likelihood to succeed at the MCC level. What we were finding is that individuals who had a PCC prior to applying for an MCC were much more likely to be successful in their journey. And so we made that a prerequisite at that time. So it is required to earn a PCC prior to applying for an MCC. Does that answer the question, Karen?
Yes, thank you.
Of course. And Aliona, you've got a great question too about what is the best preparation for the exam? What materials should you use? The core competencies for coaching are going to be a wonderful resource to individuals in preparing for the exam, and your foundational coaching education combined with your coaching experience. Those are going to be the best preparation for anyone preparing for the exam itself. As we make the final adjustments to the new exam, we will be posting sample questions to our website. So you can check those out. It'll give you a sense of the format of those questions. We currently have a handful of questions, 5 or 10 sample questions for the coach knowledge assessment. So if someone is planning to apply for a credential prior to August, you can go ahead and check out those CKA sample questions on our website now. We'll be posting sample questions for the new exam shortly. Great. Okay. Yes. So Anne, I see your question in the chat. Yes, ICF strongly encourages coaches to keep their own coaching logs for your own use, for your own business use. And if a candidate is pulled for an audit of their client coaching experience hours, you will need to access that information at that time, but you do not send your coaching logs directly to the ICF as part of the application process anymore. Aliona has another really great question. Does the exchange of coaching hours with other coaches count as paid sessions? Yes, it does. If there's any kind of exchange of value for your coaching, that is considered paid. And that exchange of value can be any number of things. Financial value, it could be, a service like coaching. So bartered coaching would count as paid coaching. You can use those peer coaching hours as paid. Great. And chat, it looks like you have another question.
Yeah, just for the PCC, I'm looking at the website right now again, just for the PCC qualification, certification, 125, what do you say, training hours or whatever you want to call it. What kind of training would count towards that?
It has to be, great question. It has to be coach specific education. So we are looking for educational courses, training programs that are aligned with the ICF definition of coaching, the ICF core competencies, and the ICF Code of Ethics. Other types of similar types of professional disciplines, psychology, etc., would not count for coach specific education. It has to be pretty explicit and clear that this is coaching education as opposed to a similar type of helping profession. Those courses can be ICF accredited, but they do not have to be. We do provide a pathway for candidates who receive and complete non-ICF accredited training or education. We still want to provide access to them to earn an ICF credential. They do have to provide additional documentation about their training so that we can make sure it is aligned with the definition of coaching, core competencies, and code of ethics.
Thank
Carrie,
you.
thank you, Chet. Carrie, we're at the top of the hour. And boy, that went fast. And thank you again. And thank you to everyone who is here today. It's really great to see you. And thank you for signing up. And we look forward to seeing you again in June, September, and December for the rest of the webinars on the credentialing series. Sign up through ICF Orange County website. And you can also get more information from your own chapter. And I put our email addresses in the chat. If you have any more questions about credentialing, just send us an email. Look for this session, the recording on our YouTube, on the ICF Orange County YouTube channel in the coming days. And again, write to us if you have any questions. Carrie, thank you again. You've been a delight, as has everyone. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.